Okay, Dylan, sorry again. I keep getting, my phone keeps going off on the emergency alert because it's supposed to storm. All right, so let's go ahead and look at where picking up on page 21, still on lesson 5. Predict is the product of 3/5 times 1/3 less than or greater than 3/5. Multiply to find the product. So you're seeing, okay, is the product going to be bigger or smaller than 3/5? Well, I'm multiplying by 1/3, which is less than 1. So that means the product must be less than 3/5. So another really nice thing about kind of doing this work is you're making these predictions is that you're really checking to see whether your answer is going to be reasonable or not. So it's a nice way to kind of just check it to make sure you did it right. So we multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So 3 times 1 is 3 and 5 times 3 is 15. So my answer is 3/15. That is not in simplest form. They have a greatest common factor of 3. So I divide 3/5 times 1/3 is greater than, is less than 3/5, and it equals 1/5. All right, got a little ahead of myself. So how do you multiply two fractions? Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. That's it. Oh my gosh. Multiply numerators, put that over the multiplication of the denominators, and then simplify. Is the product of 1/4 times 7/6 less than or greater than 1/4? Well, 7/6 is greater than 1. So your product is going to be greater than 1/4. It is greater than 1/4. The product is greater than 1/4 because 7/6 is greater than 1. All right, so we're going to do that work right here. I'm going to go ahead and do all 4 of these with you because it is a little confusing. So 1/3 times 5/8. Is it going to be greater than or less than 1/3? Well, you're multiplying by 5/8, which is less than 1. It's less than 1. So you know that the answer to this is going to be less than 1/3. Let's take a look at this one. So we're trying to figure out if it's going to be greater than or less than 3/7. So 3/7 times 3/2. Now 3/2 is greater than 1, which means the product will be greater than 3/7 because you're multiplying it by something bigger than 1. And then 5/4 times 1/2. Now you're multiplying by 1/2, which is less than 1. So it's going to be less than, the product here is going to be less than 5/4. Now that's kind of confusing because you're like, well, 5/4 is greater than 1. Right, but that's not what they're asking here. They're not asking if it's going to be greater than or less than 1/2. What's going to happen to 5/4? Am I going to get a smaller or a bigger answer? If I multiply it by 1/2, I'm going to get a smaller answer than 5/4 because 1/2 is less than 1. And then you take a look at this one, and we're trying to figure out 4/3. So is this answer going to be greater than or less than 4/3? Well, I look at the number I'm multiplying it by, and it is greater than 1. So the product's going to be greater than 4/3. All right, so multiplying fraction word problems are super simple because all you're doing is pulling out those numbers and multiplying it. And multiplying them, right? And then simplifying. So if Candace has 1/2 of a sub sandwich left over and she eats 1/3 of the leftover sandwich, is the amount she eats greater than or less than 1/2? It's less than. Because she's eating 1/3 of 1/2. So if she's eating a portion of this half, she's eating less than this half. And because you're multiplying by something that is less than 1. How much of the leftover sandwich does she eat? Now, this can get confusing because you can be like, well, she ate 1/3. No, she did not eat 1/3 of the sandwich. How much of the leftover sub sandwich does she eat? So she eats 1/3 of what's left over, and this should actually be how much of the whole sub does she eat? She actually eats 1/6 of the whole sub. Because she has a half of it. So if like you draw a picture and this is how much I have left, and I'm gonna eat a third of that for lunch, I'm actually eating 1/6 of the whole sandwich. Now she eats 1/3 of what's left over, but she's actually eating 1/6 is what they really mean here of the whole sandwich. So you're gonna just go ahead and do this. All you do is multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and then simplify. It's pretty simple work. It shouldn't take you very long. So you can go ahead and do all of them and then give these 2 word problems down here a shot. So the next lesson, lesson 6, is to multiply fractions and whole numbers, which is pretty simple too. You just need to think that a whole number can actually be turned into a fraction, and then you just multiply across. You can draw models to multiply fractions and whole numbers. Another way to multiply is to write the whole number as a fraction, then multiply as you would with 2 fractions. So Ayana is making biscuits. The recipe calls for 2 or 3/4 cups of milk. How many cups of milk does she need to make 2 batches of biscuits? So you're taking 3/4 2 times, right? So here's my 1 3/4, here's another 3/4, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then you can combine them and you have 6/4, right? Which is equivalent to 1 1/2, or really 1 2/4, which is equivalent to 1 1/2. Another way of doing that is if you have 4 times 5/8, you write the whole number as a fraction. So all whole numbers are always written as a fraction of that number over 1. So the whole number as a fraction with a denominator of 1. So 4 becomes 4 over 1. Always, for every fraction or every whole number, you can write it as a fraction by just putting it over 1. And then you're going to go ahead and just multiply across. So 4 over 1 times 5/8. Multiply 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 8 is 8. And then I can simplify this by dividing 20 by 8, which is 2, 16, 4. So my whole number is 2. My fraction is 4/8, and 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2. How can you write any whole number as a fraction? Over 1. So 5 is written as 5 over 1. 6 is written as 6 over 1. All right, let's see what else they've got for us. Siyung is making fruit punch for his class picnic. The recipe calls for 2/3 pint of strawberries. How many pints of strawberries does he need to make 4 batches of punch? Show the problem 4 times 2/3. Write the whole number as a fraction. So we're going to write 4 as 4 over 1. So then we have 4 over 1 times 2/3. 4 over 1 times 2/3. You multiply the numerators, that's 8. Multiply the denominators, that's 3. And then divide 8 by 3. 3 can go into 8 2 times with 2 left over 3. So my answer is 8/3 is equivalent to 2 2/3. Use the models to check your answer. Show 4 groups of 2/3. So it's 2/3 taken 4 times, right? There they are. And then if you counted them all up, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, that would be 8/3 shaded. And then you can also combine them to turn it into a mixed number. So I have 2 wholes here and then 2 out of the 3 here. So he has 2, or needs 2 2/3 pints of strawberries. How can you use a model to multiply a whole number and a fraction? You can draw the pictures, right? So you can draw the picture, or draw the drawing to represent the fractions. How can you use multiplication to multiply a whole number by a fraction? You turn whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. So they want you to draw a model for these two. I'll go ahead and do these with you because it is pretty tough to draw this model. So this is 3 times 1/4, or another way of saying this is 1/4 taken 3 times. So you can go like this, color in 1, and now you've got 1 2 3 fourths, right? And then you can also combine it like that. And then this is 4 times 3/5. So another way of saying that is 3/5 taken 4 times. So fifths are kind of hard to do circles, so I'm gonna do rectangles. There's gonna be 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna color in 2. 2, 4, 6, 8 fifths, right? And then you can combine those. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. One and 3/5. All right, and then these down here, you're just gonna turn this over into a fraction by putting it over 1 and then multiply across. So 7 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2. Simplify that to be 3 1/2. Same with this one, 5 times 2 is 10, and then 1 times 5 is 3. Simplify that to be 3 1/3. All right, and now you've got these beautiful word problems down here to work on, along with all of this work right here. You don't have to draw models with these. You can just turn those whole numbers into fractions by putting them over 1, multiply across. Don't forget to write it in simplest form. And then you've got these 2 beautiful word problems down here. Enjoy.